We are live. Let's really see if we are.
I think we are. It says right up here. Live.
It says live.
It's been a while since
we are live. Holy
Zoom.
cow. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Frisco, Colorado. That was like a 3-minute, I don't know what it was, but it took a while. So anyway, here we are with part 2 for the Fit Archer podcast, but it's coming a little bit differently. This is pretty wild. So I'm with Brandon LaRue, and a lot of you have already listened to part 1 we did a couple weeks ago. And we kept, we talked for an hour and a half, I think it was, and we got done, and Brandon's like, we didn't even talk about hunting. And I'm like, hey, we're going to be together next week in Colorado anyway. Let's just do part 2. So it's our last night here. We put it off for 6 nights, and we're finally doing it. But we decided to do a couple different things. So we're recording this. Hopefully it's still recording. Just check.
It is.
Oh, recording. Okay, so we're recording it on Zoom, streaming it live on Facebook. I'm going to take the recording, put it on my Fit Archer YouTube page. Brandon can do with it whatever he wants. I'll share it with him. And then we're going to take the audio from this and put it on the Fit Archer podcast for episode 21, 22, whichever. I think probably 22, maybe 21. So what we're going to talk about tonight, though, is probably a little bit everything. We never even talked about what we talk about. But I had an idea to talk about controlling the controllables when we talk about fitness and hunting. But before we do that, I want to, we didn't get to talk a lot about this because I didn't have it in the mail yet. And Brandon didn't even tell me he had it. He launched it. He's just like, oh yeah, I was going to tell everybody when I got my copy, but he didn't even get a copy before everybody was posting their copy. Please listen to the part 1 with Brandon LaRue. And I labeled it World-Class Dad Brandon LaRue. And he wrote a book. He and his daughter Olivia wrote a book, and it'll blow you away. It'll literally blow you away. And I'll let you explain it a little bit and explain why you decided to do it and how you wrote it, where the ideas and all that kind of stuff come from. But when I finally got mine in the mail, I got it and I opened it up and I started reading, and just the forewords had me in tears. Literally every chapter that I've read has had me in tears. I've gotten to know their family. Obviously, we're very, very close. We just spent 7 days together in a condo here in Colorado, and we spent a lot of years together doing business together. We're still in business together. But it's a life-changing book that you can apply to your life. And I'm just going to say this. I think in ways that you can't pick other books up and apply them to your life as well as you can with the lessons that Livy and Brandon share here. And so I'm honored you wrote the book, honored to be your friend. And it's so awesome because you see this picture of Livy, and this is her every single day. We went to this, roller coaster thing down the ski mountain today. And Copper Mountain, as Livy is sitting there, 2 different ladies, what a unique experience today. 2 different ladies walking up, just talking about how beautiful Livy is. And then Brandon got to share the book with them. Lady came back over with her phone. She's like, I want to make sure I read the book. And I told Brandon, I'm like, I want to do my part to make sure everybody I know gets a copy of this, gets an extra copy of it, and you send it to your friends that need some help in any area of life or anything like that. But this book is a book that needs to be in the hands of every single person that you know. And so thanks for writing the book, and maybe just talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, well, there's probably people on here that encouraged me to write it. So thank you for the encouragement. I guess it all began when Livia was born, just the uniqueness of her and her condition, and just being a dad, wanting to do whatever a dad could to be the best dad he could be for her. And I just, you never envision, we didn't know Livia had any of these complications before she was born. So you don't really plan for that. You're planning for a healthy baby. And so when all this stuff came, it was all a real shot of life to us, shot of adversity to us. But it's been the biggest blessing I could ever imagine. Like I couldn't imagine life without Livia. Yeah. So, but due to her challenges with having to learn a new language to communicate with her, and it really introduced me to my shortcomings. you know, as a human, as a man, as a father. So as Liv and I were navigating, you know, fatherhood and that relationship, I learned a lot. You know, I learned, she was teaching me lessons about patience, lessons about communication.
We've been singing the song "Patience" every day because you quote it in the book.
Yeah, the Guns N' Roses song. Yeah. So and they hit me like a ton of bricks. Usually, you know, when a lesson happens, it's almost like time slows for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it just hits me. I'm kind of like, whoa, like I gotta remember what is being taught to me right now. And I, you know, I'm a man of faith, so I believe the Lord uses Livia to speak and teach me, you know. And so there's just been a lot of moments like that, and I'm pretty transparent about what I'm about on social media. It can be a pretty dark place, and I've chosen to be a positive person in that world, and trying to just do my part. And so I just started writing about these lessons that Lydia was teaching me on Facebook, and then I found that they weren't just lessons for me or a special needs parent. It transcended all that. There were lessons for everybody. So as I started writing those, I found it was really hitting them. Like, holy cow, like, wow, that's good. Hey, you need to write a book about these things. And I would get personal messages from people, you know, like, it was really hitting them. So, and then the encouragement came to write the book, you know, for several years, 3-4 years.
Because Livia's how old?
She's going to be 5 in August. So, you know, finally, another strike of adversity. You know, we had a interesting last year in life and business. And so that just gave me a reason to turn another adverse situation towards, you know, use that energy towards something good.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I think a lot of people kind of got in a dark place there for a while. So started chipping away. It took a year, and now it's here, you know. And it's, you know, we've had a bunch of people have read it so far, like you. People that are close to the situation and know our family and know Livia really love the book. But I wasn't expecting that. You know, like when people are close to you, you know, they want the best for you, and they
you hope anyway.
Yeah.
You always hope.
Right. And they know Livia, and they love the snot out of Livia, so they'll say, you know, they'll say nice things just because they love you. So I was really curious to what people that weren't close to the situation would think about the book, and those are starting to come in. People that weren't really close to our family, they might know us, you know, like acquaintances. They've watched from afar, and they're reading the book, and the reviews are really good. So, as someone who wrote the book, well, I mean, Livia and I both wrote it. I mean, she kept teaching me the lessons, but
so you know, explain Livia's situation, because when somebody might not know, they're saying you and Livia wrote it. Her communication style is a little different than what we think.
Right. So, realize a lot of people don't know. So Livia's got a really, really rare form of epilepsy called KCNQ2, and there's like a few hundred cases worldwide. So it's incredibly rare. Neurologists and doctors really learn as they go from experiences with other children with KCNQ2. And so she's got very low muscle tone, can't communicate like we communicate. So she coos, you know, and she smiles and she laughs, but she doesn't, like when you were singing with her this morning, that was special.
So
probably special for you too.
Oh. So I just watched a church service on TV because we're not at a church, obviously, and they got done, and all of a sudden the music started playing, and all of a sudden Livia cooed. And her coos I think it is her communication,
sure.
And it's her joy. And all of a sudden, like, she loves praise music. Let's go praise with her. And so just set the phone down by her, and this face right here was all that she was, and she was cooing, she was singing beautiful. You know what I thought? Gosh, this is making me cry. Because that's why I didn't want to turn around and look at you while we were doing that, because I was like crying the whole time just looking at her. And I thought, what a wonderful God in heaven sitting there saying how wonderful this sound is. But here's what I thought that got me. was Livia knowing in her heart and in her soul how amazing of a relationship she has with the Lord, and that's what she was so excited about.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just how my mind went, was, gosh, allergies are bad over here, so I'm good. Was her joy of believing and knowing herself, her relationship with the Lord, that we don't know how intimate her and the Lord are. But to have so much joy saying, oh, Brandon, oh, JP, oh, everybody that was listening to praise music, if you only knew how much God loved you. And she was just full of joy this morning, listening to, and Brooksy ran out. Brooksy's their boy, and he runs it. He goes, oh, she loves praise music, JP. It was pretty awesome.
It was. So, I don't know. How did we get on that?
I'm just talking about how she communicates what her condition is. Because if somebody doesn't know, when you guys say you two wrote the book together, you wrote it through how you understand how you two communicate.
Right. So this is a very much a father-daughter relationship, and just what I'm learning as a human, as a man, as a father, to Livia, and she's, I talk about this a lot in the book, is what the world will define her as is a disability, which, I think I refer to myself in this book as the one with the disabilities. Like, yeah, I can talk in English.
Mm-hmm.
I can run, jump. I can type and do all those things, do some things that Livia can't do, but she doesn't battle the temptation, the sin, the ugliness of humanity. It's just pure joy and love, acceptance. And these are a lot of the lessons that are talked about in the book. And so it's not just, it's a lesson that can hit anybody. And sure, if you're a father and you have a daughter, if you're a special needs parent, you'll be really, really be able to relate, but it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't matter.
No, it's so applicable to everything you and I deal with on a daily basis, and things that we will face. So if we talk about the topic today, controlling the controllables, when you had Livia and you first found out, and we'll talk about fitness, we'll talk about hunting, but at the end of the day, yeah, who knows? We might not. When you find out you have a child that has something that's happened, like we talk about controlling the controllables. Here, I was hunting in Nevada, so she was born in August of 2015, and I was in Nevada hunting, and I remember coming out, had a hunt of a lifetime. This is, incredible world-class bull, and I remember finally, I was kind of communicating a little bit with my wife. I think you were finding out as I was leaving. I think I just found out something wasn't quite right, and I remember Angie kind of telling me there's just something not right. And then I finally talked to you, and I remember you just like, hey, tell me about your elk. And I remember I was in Arizona, and I'm crying, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about elk. Tell me about what's going on with your daughter. Like, how do you control emotions, fears, all that stuff in the middle of, you're expecting a healthy child, and she is healthy, but expecting a healthy child, but then all of a sudden there's complications. What do you do? What do you lean on?
Well, faith. If I'd have faith, number one, in Jesus, in my eternity, and Livia's eternity, I don't know how people do it. Yeah, to be quite honest. Because that just, not having that security leaves a lot of anxiousness about all the potential bad things that can happen. So that's first and foremost. But outside of that, someone told me the other day, I've heard this before, but it's fresh in my mind. Adversity introduces you to yourself. So when bad things happen, it's a mirror test, right? And I've been faced with, like we all have. We've all had bouts of adversity in our life. So I'm just speaking about my unique ones. I'm not saying mine are more adverse than anyone else's, but lost a parent early in my life, and I learned how to channel that in a positive way. Like, I didn't. It's bad enough that there's an adversity happening in your life, but to go and compound the issues with, if it's alcohol or drugs or just getting angry, it tends to compound the problem, right?
Yeah.
Common sense, right? I mean, I think everyone would agree with that.
Yeah.
And so I've learned that when bad things happen, it's like you just got to rise up. There's something to learn. There's always something to learn when something bad happens. And so when that happened, I just I tried to keep it together because I got a family. My wife. I wanted to be strong for my wife, and want to be strong for my son. And then I knew I needed to get better. How was this is new to me. Being a father of not only a daughter. I haven't had a daughter before, but then the special needs on top of it. I knew I just needed to get better, and as a father, I need to get better as a human in order to take care of this daughter. Because I'm just being real. I can imagine, talk about this quite a bit. There's two paths really, right? You could be the person who really lets that get to you and you use it in a negative way, and it could destroy a family.
Yeah.
Adversity like that.
Yeah.
Or you can rise up and be like, wow, what a gift. Man, I need to get better. It's living an inspired life.
Yeah.
So as far as controlling the controllables, it's just what can I do to get better? I can't control the outcome with Livia. I can't. What I can control is what I am to her as a father, how much I love her, how much I pray for her, what I can do for my wife, what can I do for my family. Writing this book is something I could control.
Taking a negative, I don't want to say negative, but taking a hardship, adversity, and turning it into something good.
Yeah.
Imagine if everybody in our society today was doing that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have all the problems we have right now.
Right. I mean, so everyone is so offendable right now. I mean, what if we all just, just brushed it off?
Yeah.
And like, hey, you know what? Let's learn from this and let's get better.
Makes me think of wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling has every lesson in life you ever need. And listen, man, I try to get my kids to wrestle. They're just not wrestling right now, but I did. And so I'll use those lessons some other way with them. But when you're one-on-one, and maybe just any other one-on-one sport, but when you got wrestling, it's your physical strength against another human's physical strength. And there's a little bit more pride. If I'm playing tennis one-on-one, of course there's a little pride on the line, but they're not putting their hands on me.
Right.
So it puts their hands on you and they physically beat you up. You get humbled early in life.
Yeah.
And realize like the brush it off effect, like I just got to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, the next book, part 2, should be lessons from wrestling.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, that one might be uncomfortable moments.
Yeah, because he writes, and make sure you are following Brandon at Well Built Humans on Facebook, Well Built Humans on Instagram, because he writes a lot of uncomfortable moments. He's an incredible writer. I've said that before. I've always said that. Every time you've ever wrote a post, I'd read it. I'm like, gosh, you're a really good writer. You're like, you think so? I'm like, yeah, you're a phenomenal reader. Like, I scroll over a lot of people's. If I scroll and it's one paragraph, I'll scroll up. If it's 2, most people I'll just keep scrolling past it. When Brandon writes something and it's more than one paragraph, I'm always reading because he's a great writer. It brings you in, you understand it, you visualize it, you can be part of it yourself. And a lot of uncomfortable. You just wrote, either you rewrote that one or you just reshared one. You had the uncomfortable moment, like when you got called up to be the quarterback. Wasn't that one you just shared again?
Yeah.
So those are really good. More uncomfortable or controlling, more controllables. I'm going to go back to this again. Please get a book and write a review on it so others get a book. You never know whose life will be touched. I think they're $16. So you should be buying multiple copies and hand them out. Christmas is coming. Get them to some people for Christmas. Christmas is December 25th again this year, if you didn't realize that. Well, maybe. Who knows if we're going to even get Christmas this year. There's some weird things going on in our society, but you and I had been part of a business. Business has been around for a long time. And one day we jumped on a phone call, and a business that you poured your heart and soul into, I poured my heart and soul into, gone. Just like that, snap of a finger. That can rock a lot of people. Maybe talk a little bit about that, just how you spun that into, we just talked about it again today a little bit, like hey, I'm busy, but it's good. But you know, when your financial feet get chopped out from underneath you, that's
Yeah.
a tough place to be. You know, for me at 44 years old, 45, I'm like, man, I just gave 18 years to this thing. And 18 years of all the energy I could give, and like sold out, loyal, like you, loyal to the bone. I'm a dog. Like, kick me, beat me, I don't care. I'm still by your side. But all of a sudden they took that bone away. You know?
Yeah.
How did you control that situation?
Well, I mean, the book came out of that, you know, like it gave me a reason to not put that off any longer. But, you know, I think, you know, I've just realized, you know, like this isn't, people have lost their jobs before.
Yeah.
People have been laid off before, and it's no different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, after you know, I was bitter, you know, for a few days, but you know, I kind of came to terms with, okay, well, this is what's happened. It's not changing. You can piss and moan about it all you want.
Yeah.
But that's not productive. So, and I always felt like, you know, there's an equipping in everything. I think what we went through was a tremendous experience in growing your skills, really getting out of your comfort zone, understanding sales, understanding marketing, understanding leadership, understanding character development. These are all skills that I needed to learn and fine tune, and had 10 years paid experience to do it. So, and I always felt like there was more, that like that wasn't going to be the only thing that you or I were ever going to do.
Yeah.
You know, it left too much time on our hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I always felt like it was to do something more. And so, you know, when that's cut out from under you and you're forced to kind of recreate yourself, you know, I almost, you know, again, after that short-term bitterness and anger subsided, I was like, it's kind of invigorating to create. It is for me anyway.
Yeah.
Like to create, like, you know,
be productive.
So now I'm like, okay, well, I have these skills. What am I going to create? And no offense to anyone watching this, I would have gone to a 9 to 5. I'll do whatever I need to do to provide for my family.
Yeah.
All work is honorable work, as long as it's done to the Lord, in my opinion. So it's just not how I'm wired. I didn't want to go back to a 9 to 5. I like.
You want to go back to that Pepsi truck or Coke truck? Which one are you driving?
Coca-Cola. Yeah. I love coaching. You know, I found that I love writing. You know, I love coaching and mentoring kids. I love to hunt and fish. You know, and I'm very passionate about faith and fatherhood and parenting and all these things. So that's what I'm like. You know what? I'm going to create a brand. You know. And it kind of became a brainstorming session on what's the brand going to be called. Yeah. And then that was just kind of a day of thinking about, man, what am I going to call it? It's got to be something strong. It's got to be something encompassing about what I'm about. And that's when Well-Built Humans.
That's awesome.
And it's interesting, you know, whenever you put yourself out there, in case you didn't notice, everybody, you open yourself up to criticism.
No.
In case you didn't notice. Oh, man, bring it up again. If there's a lesson in any of this, is don't be so darn offended by everything nowadays.
Everything.
My goodness. It's what the world wants, is you to be offended.
Yeah.
To create
it's what
division,
the devil wants.
To create factions.
Literally what the devil wants.
It's what it was. It wants division, separation, rather than unity. Quit being so offended. So I got criticized for this. Well-Built Humans. I've been criticized for that by some, I'll leave his
keyboard
name.
troll.
Yeah. By some troll. You know, like, oh, obviously, you know, means like you got to be well built in the physique. I'm like, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. You know, I mean, so you open stuff up to criticism. I'm sure I'll be criticized for this. You know, someone will read it and say it was stupid, and oh well. You know, I'm writing a blog post right now about living without offense. Be ready for that one, and I'll probably be criticized for that. But
somebody's gonna be offended by that.
I think what Aristotle. There's a famous quote by him, to avoid criticism, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing.
Yeah.
So bring on the criticism.
Bring on the criticism. I think the new challenge for me was, you know, being part of what we were part of was great, but it did leave a lot of time on your hands. which was great. That's what we worked for.
For sure.
I mean, so I could be a father and be a husband and hunt and fish anywhere I want, whenever I want. I mean, those are nice. But the same with you. Once I got over the bitterness of, oh man, it's over, man. We just gave everything. Once I got over that and channeled my energy into something new, it was good because I got a couple new things going. Did the same thing, with the Fit Archer, because I love archery. I love fitness. I just thought, well, I'm going to brand myself in that. I mean, I always have people say things like that, like, you do something like that, blah, blah, blah. So I did. I'll get criticized. I did have a couple people say, oh, can I do it if I'm a fat archer? Oh, yeah, you do whatever you want. Don't be fat, just be fit.
Yeah.
That'll offend somebody, but it just is what it is. Doing a new business, and creating a new business at 45, a new career. Never built a career before.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody, if you're a parent and you can talk your kids when they're young to getting into sales. We were in sales, nutritional sales, and we still are in nutritional sales, nutritional supplement sales as well. But if you can get your kids into some sort of sales that exposes them to criticism, to rejection, to uncomfortable moments, to having to work, self-discipline work, motivation work. They actually have to go do it. They're not told. In a 9 to 5, you're told what to do. Someone's got positional authority over you that tells you either do it or you're fired. When you're your own boss in any kind of sales, you have your own independent sales of anything like that, you have to be motivated enough to go do it. Goal setting, you have to set goals and all the things that comes with building a business like that. I think everybody should do it. Whenever those book salesmen people would come to our house, I'd be like, I don't want to go answer the door because they just don't take no for an answer, but they'd always leave, and I typically buy books. They would leave, and I'd be like, that's what I want my kids to do.
Yeah.
I want them to go door-to-door sales and get their nose kicked in a few times because it's tough, but I'll tell you what it does. The 18 years that I put in the other business set me up for success. Just what you said. I mean, I could take that negative of not having anymore, turn it into a positive, and realize all the skills in life that I've been taught have worked really, really well to help me in my newest endeavor, and in all endeavors, really, my parenting and everything. Yeah. So I think it's, like you said, controlling it. Look at the Bible. Please look at the Bible and please just read and take the good parts, well, they're all good parts, but take the applicable parts for your life and apply them to your life. When Joshua's brothers cast him into the well and then sold him off to slavery. Well, he takes over, he's becoming, because God has just got so much favor on his life, he puts him in charge of all the things. And his brothers come because there's a famine in the land, and Joshua's in charge of the food and everything. And he finally tells him, he goes, what you guys meant for evil, God meant for good. And if every time you face a challenge or adversity, if every time I can stop and say, God, the devil may mean this for evil, but I know God has got something good in it. Even in the midst of what's going on right now. Yeah. I just looked at it. There was something that popped into my mind tonight. I can't remember, but I looked at it like there's a lot of division. We literally got looked at kind of funny today. Yesterday, my wife and I and our kids 2 days ago went for a walk, and we got literally shunned by a lady that had a mask on. We were outside. We chose not to wear a mask. We're outside. We won't get into that whole thing. And it could have easily got in an argument, but we just kept walking. And I'm like, man, there's going to be some good to come out of this. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I won't say it. But there's going to be some good that comes out of this. As much as I dislike it, there's evil in our world, and it's being allowed to just seep into homes and media and Facebook and Instagram and do something good and make light of a negative in your life. Take something that you can control, your energy, your effort, your attitude, and put some good energy behind it and do something good in our society right now. I think that's the best we can do. You want to talk a little hunting? You want to talk a little fishing? Sure. We did some fishing this week.
Yeah, a lot. We did a lot of fishing.
We did, yeah. Brandon was the winner. He caught all the fish.
I did.
I caught 2, yeah. I think, maybe. I had more follow-ups on my little beetle spin today than I've ever had on any fishing, and I just couldn't land a fish. Yeah. I just couldn't do it.
Well, so controlling the controllables in fishing. Okay. So let me disclaimer. I am not an expert archer. I am not an expert fisherman. I am a very average, persistent
He's
something,
very persistent.
something.
Sun falls in the river today. He's freezing. Brian's like, just cross the road and let's hit a couple more holes. I'm like, Brooksy's freezing back here. Your wife's gonna kill you. Brooksy, you mind if JP tries a couple more holes over on this? I'm like, let's just go home. He's persistent. He was trying to get me a fish.
True story. Brooksy did fall in.
You did.
About up to here, ice cold, mountain stream. Oh man,
that was awesome.
But yeah, so I guess, I mean, I'm a savvy trout fisherman. I really enjoy it. First of all, so that helps with the persistence. I could go for hours not getting a bite, but there's another hole, there's another bend in the river. You just never know. And that's kind of the beauty of hunting and fishing, and some of the lessons you can take away from those two things as well, which I think every kid should hunt and fish too for those reasons, is learning patience and the discipline, and then just understanding the percentages are usually pretty low. Yeah. And you just got to have an optimistic attitude.
Learning failure.
Yeah. So fishing this week, I would say I'm a pretty decent at presenting some spinners in holes. I'm pretty good, cast placement, and just persistent, and that's what I do when it comes to trout fishing. I know some people will the fly fishermen of the world will probably stick their nose up at me because
we got some looks at some fly by apparently when you're in fly fishing world,
we come in there, they're spinning tackle, casted spinners, and they're looking all graceful and dipping there.
I think I told Joseph's story wrong because my mom commented. I think I told, what did I say? Keep going, but I think I told the story wrong. I apologize.
Did you say Joshua or Joseph?
I think I said Joshua.
Oh,
Joseph's brother sold into slavery.
Yeah. Well, never.
Yeah. Read the story, then you'll get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, we got some interesting looks from some fly fishermen. But I'm watching most of those fly fishermen. It's like they got a cane pole and they're just dipping it into the hole. I'm like,
there was no finesse where we were today.
No, there wasn't like people making these beautiful casts.
No,
the streams are too small, I think, for that type of fishing. Although my buddy John Dudica, who also is an author, wrote a couple good books. But he used to live in Colorado. He used to fish the Blue River all the time, and he's the guy I asked for some insider tips. And when I told him we were using spinning tackle, he goes, "Oh, barf," or something like that. Like, "Oh, take it easy."
There was some, but we fished 3 different rivers, right?
Yeah, we fished the Blue,
the Snake,
10 Mile. Well, and then I guess that is the Blue, the Green River Reservoir.
Yeah, and then 2 reservoirs. We fished the Green River Reservoir and then the Dillon Reservoir.
Yeah.
The Green River, we pulled up into. He's got the Sea Eagle, so I got to go in the Sea Eagle. You get to see it on Instagram stories and all that stuff. Finally got to take that out. It's not supposed to launch from shore, allegedly, for trailered or motorized boats. Well, we were neither. So we were an inflatable electric. So we decided we could launch from shore. So we had quite an adventure launching from shore. But had a great time. You caught your first lake trout, Laker.
Mm-hmm. First Laker.
Nice one.
Grayling.
Great. So tell you a funny story. So I'm fishing with the beetle spin, and for those of you in the Midwest, the beetle spin is just the all around do everything. And Brand's we're trying everything, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw a beetle spin on. I've been fishing. Well, he told me, he goes, try the beetle spin. So I'm throwing it. He's
all-purpose lure.
He goes, I'm gonna throw the beetle spin on because I had 2.
Yeah, a couple strikes.
A couple fish following it up. For those who don't know what that is, they followed it up, they hit it a little bit, but I couldn't land them. And I told him, like, you throw a beetle spin on me. If you catch it, I'm gonna snap your pole in half. It's like 3rd cast. Oh, I got up and jeepers, and running like crazy. I'm like, oh gosh, sure enough. So it's coming in. I got a video of it, and Brian's like, what is it? What is it? I'm like, I don't know what it is. I'm like, what is it? He goes, I don't know, and pulls it out, and he's like, I think it's a grayling. So we don't know what it is, and we pulled up on a boat that was anchored, and they were fishing, and they had the little brown trout, and they said, you guys get anything? And Brandon goes, yeah, I caught one. Like, what'd you get? He goes, grayling. The guy goes, oh, what? Brand's like, well, I don't know what it was. And he told us it was a Laker.
Yeah.
Lake trout.
I mean, I've never caught, if it was a big one, it was probably 20 inches. Yeah. Maybe. I've seen big lake trout watching fishing shows.
Yeah, it probably would have looked different if it was big.
But it kind of had that big dorsal fin. Yeah. And I just remember seeing grayling. Picture of a grayling came to mind. I'm like, it's like grayling. Anyway. So we've had a lot of fun this week fishing. And back home, I'm sure within this next week I'll have the sea eagle out.
Yeah, you can catch crappies.
In southeast Minnesota, going after some bluegill or crappies or something.
Makes me miss fishing.
It's so much fun.
It is fun. Fishing's good. But I'm into hunting.
As am I.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite as much as you, but.
No, you still are. It's just when you live in the Midwest, where Brandon lives in southern Minnesota, where I lived in La Crosse, you literally you're in the mecca of all of it. You have it all. You got the Minnesota or the Mississippi River. You got lakes. You just got so much fishing. I grew up fishing. As a kid all the time. I mean, I got all the tackle, had a boat, the whole bit. Arizona's a little bit different. You have to trail your boat a long ways. It's like the closest place we could go to is about a 40-minute drive to get the boat into the water, and then it's different fishing. So we just never really got into it. Typically, we're always on a baseball field anyway, so just never really got to get into it. So I spend most of my time hunting. But when I'm talking like controllables, I'm thinking, and let's go to hunting for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today, and I'll talk about the fitness here in a minute, but shooting, archery, specifically archery, but if you drew a gun tag, if you live in the Midwest, shooting your gun isn't as big of a deal as it is, because typically you're sighted in, you're not shooting that far, but learning how to shoot and hunt the way that you hunt in Arizona or out west is quite a bit different. But specifically archery, shooting all the time, when I think about controlling the controllables, I think about, I want to do my part to eliminate every single thing that I possibly can that I can control. So I think about my shooting. I think about, if I get one opportunity to harvest an elk and I don't shoot good, it happens, it just happens. But if I know in the back of my mind that I put all the work in that I could put in, I've eliminated that factor. I've eliminated factor, all the scouting that I could do. When we went to Missouri a couple of years ago, we could have, if we'd go back, I think we'd kill a lot of deer, because now we could put more scouting into it and all those different things. But there's just so much about hunting that you can do from all the controllables, how you eat, how you prepare in advance of your food, training your body. Brandon will laugh when I say fasting because he doesn't like that word, I'm not offended by it. He's not offended by it. No. Just live that way, people. Just don't be offended by it. I started doing this from a hunting standpoint, and a kid just asked me this question. The only reason I started to do it was I was thinking, well, when I go on a hunt, I want to see it. Right when I go out in the morning, I want to be able to get up, put my clothes on, and go, because typically you're going far. And I'm like, my life has always been so consumed by food. Like, I'm so driven by, I got to have 7 pounds of snacks. If I don't eat every hour, I'm like, I feel it. And I've been able to train my body a little bit to be able to push off eating for a long time. And it wasn't really doing much to my body as much as it was my mental capacity of understanding I don't need food at that moment. I'm still going to get all my food in, but I don't need it. So I can bust out on a hunt in the morning and be able to pack a little bit lighter. I'd still have some stuff for an emergency if I needed to, or if I got caught overnight or whatever. But I'd be able to do that. So it seems kind of weird to think that way. But if you like hunting, or if you like fishing, or if you like whatever your hobby is, whatever things you can find that you can control, that gives you a little bit more of an edge to have a little bit more success. It's just, to me, it's all in the preparation, all the fun stuff. I like to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And, there'll be a lot of people that might watch this that are Midwestern hunters versus Western hunters.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's a different type of hunt, like people in the Midwest that go out on a hunt out west, for whether it's for a muley or an elk or whatever. Oftentimes it's the first time in their life they've ever been motivated enough to work out, because they know they're going to get put through the meat grinder in the hiking and the backpacking and carrying all the gear and setting up camp and hauling if they get, if they tag out, hauling the stuff back, which is awesome to see that movement happening with outdoorsmen. But it's happening in the Western outdoorsmen. I don't think it's happening so much in the Midwestern, like where I live. And I would love it, because a lot of my friends are of that brand. Yeah. And I would love to see them get healthier, more fit, eat better, eat perfect, work out more, because all those things matter in those hunts too. Yeah. Like those guys that, a lot of people, I worry about some people keeling over of a heart attack. Yeah. Because doing drive hunting, party hunting like they do. I'm just like, man, those are some, you've probably done it before. Oh yeah. Some hard workouts, or even just a guy killing a deer and
Shaking the camera.
Oh, am I? You know, and having to drag it out. You know, I mean, it happens every year. You watch it every year. Someone dies.
Yeah.
Heart attack.
Yep.
So.
Well, yeah, I think if somebody's not in shape, they may not know how much more enjoyable it can be when they are in shape. Really. I mean, just I've seen people that have used hunting as a catalyst to get in shape, and they're some of the most fit people in the world now because they realize once they got there, the amount of excess weight they were carrying was such a limiting factor of, especially, I mean, you can hunt where you hunt, it's big bluffs.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you there's guys or gals that have looked and said, I would really love to fill my tag this year, but I'm not walking to the top of that bluff today. It's just too hard. Instead of saying, I'm going to crush that bluff, and I'm going to go down that valley, and then I'm going to have to haul one up and over, do it again. But when you put yourself through the meat grinder voluntarily every single day, all that stuff is easier. All that stuff's easier.
Yep. And the reality is longevity. You know, like I want to be bow hunting when I'm in my 70s, 80s, and I want to be able to climb a tree. I don't want, you know, I'm not against luxurious hunting. You know, people having these big red neck blinds and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice, especially when the elements are harsh. But there's still something. I don't know about you, but like for me, there's something weirdly intoxicating about being in the outdoors, in the elements, in the cold, freezing your butt off sometimes. Like it's part of the hunt. And when people are, you know, they got their heater, it's -10 and they're in their sweatshirt and they're blind. I get it. It's comfortable and you're able to sit there longer. You're welcome to disagree with me. I get it, but there's something about it.
Yeah.
You know, you were talking about that moose hunt in Alberta, and you're like, man, it was awful. I've never been so cold in all my life. You thought you had nerve. Do you still have any?
No, it's healed up, but both years in a row.
Yeah.
It's happened.
And I asked if you do it again, you'd be like, I think I would. Yeah. Because that looking back on it, there's a lot of fond memories. In the moment, it can suck. You know, and you could tie that back into wrestling, you know, like that weird discipline of it sucks. It's hard getting your butt kicked, the workouts, the managing your weight. But I look back on all of it and I'm like, I would do it over again and I would do it better. I would work harder and I'd be more disciplined.
But you can spin that into parenting. You can spin that into business. You can spin that into loving your wife when the emotions of the honeymoon is over.
Yeah.
And now you're just in family building phase and there's a lot of stress coming your way. The grind.
Yeah.
So funny story. I got this moose hunt back in 2014. So the first year I was going to get to go was 2017. So I bought this moose hunt, had to wait a few years till they had an opening. Talked to my buddy into going with me. And when I was on the phone with the outfitter, his name's Cody, and tougher than, I mean, makes me feel like a wuss bag. These outfitters, and he's a bronc rider or steer wrestler. Like his forearms are this big, his hands are.
Popeye.
He always says things to me like, "Well, you CrossFit, you kill me at CrossFit." I'm like, I don't even want you putting your hands on me because you kill me with one arm. Like, but I was talking to him over the phone as I'm getting ready for this hunt, and he said, "Well, no, I met you. I met him at this big show, and he goes, physically you'll be fine, but he goes, it's the mental part you're gonna have to worry about." He had said a story of he had a former military guy who spent his whole life in the military and was on the hunt. It was 25 miles back on horseback, so 6-hour ride on horseback, and then you're just back there camping. Grizzly country, cold, whole bit. They cook, unbelievable. It's great accommodations, but he goes like, I just couldn't take it mentally, just the grueling boringness of it. The guy ended up leaving. And he goes, so if you can handle the mental part of it, you'll be fine. So I'm like, oh boy, here we go, a good challenge. And I'm up for challenges, but I've invested a lot of money into this thing, like a lot of money. So I remember I started controlling the controllables. I took horse riding lessons. My daughter has a horse, so I took horse riding lessons. Like, I wanted my butt prepared. I wanted my legs prepared. I wanted my back prepared. I wanted to know how to handle the horse because you're on a horse and they're big animals. 1 hour into the horse ride on the 6-hour thing, my butt's killing me. I'm like, oh my goodness, we got 5 more hours. I mean, I tried to put the work into it. Well, I remember we get there and day 3, the snow kicks in. First day riding in there was like this right here is beautiful. You're like, am I in heaven? Like, it's just, you looking at the Rocky Mountains is so amazingly beautiful. Told my wife this today. I'm like, people that don't hunt don't realize most hunters will also hunt because they just appreciate the
Mm.
outdoors. I mean, where are we? We're in paradise right now.
We'll talk about the trout little statement from your football coach.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can share, keep it so you share that. So anyway, we're riding up there, and all of a sudden the snow kicks in, and the guy I hunt with is 6'4". He's a big dude, and the snow is up to mid thigh on him, and it's cold. We tried to ride out to a different camp. We got stuck. We had to ride back to camp. 5 days, miserable cold. I had nerve damage on my feet. My hands were soaked the whole time. I would ride the horse, and I had a down jacket, so in a rain jacket, I had a down jacket, a guy jacket, and a rain jacket. And I would put my hand inside my jacket like this, one, and the other one under the saddle, so it got warm from the horse. And when that one would warm up, I'd do this because the other one. We rode for hours. We rode 4 hours one day. Had to turn around and come back the next 4 hours because we couldn't get out of the mountain. It was brutal. I remember almost snapping. Man, there's a story I could tell you. Well, my buddy kept saying this. He goes, "This ain't for the faint of heart, man. This ain't for the faint of heart." So neither of us killed a bull. We seen 2 bulls the first couple of days, and then nothing. And that was a 7-day hunt. We get done and we're riding out, and I remember he and I we were so dirty. We went to Walmart, bought some stuff, went back to the hotel, took a shower, went into the hotel hot tub, and then went back into the shower. And that's when I realized I had nerve damage because my feet all of a sudden just started to hurt like someone was crushing them. And I'm like, what is wrong with my feet, my hands? My hands peeled all the way back for 2 months. All the skin peeled off them. It was just, so about a week afterward, I get a call from the outfitter. He goes, "Hey, I got 2 openings for next year." And I called my buddy up. I'm like, "Hey," he goes, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like I didn't even have to tell him. And the outfitter goes, "I'll give you 3 extra days for the same price, just to count for weather." We don't get weather like that. That's what he said. We don't usually get weather like that. So here we go. We're prepared to go again the next year. So now it's 2018 we're going. So a couple years ago. And I upgraded to a bigger boot, and then waterproof gloves, and a little bit another layer. And I leave Arizona at 105 degrees. I land in Alberta. I drive, pick up my buddy. We drive to the hotel where we're going to take off from, 21 degrees and snowing. Coming down a hill, driving to where we're going to meet the outfitter, and there's a semi truck in front of us sliding like this with a van in front of him. We're going down. It was just, I put every stitch of clothing I had on for the 6-hour horse ride there and froze. 10 straight days. On day 5, I shot my bull. On day 9, my buddy shot his bull. And every day I got sick. I couldn't even go with my buddy. On day 7, I caught a terrible cold. Not terrible. I could have went hunting, but I didn't want to be coughing. I didn't want to scream. So I just sat in camp one day all by myself. It was crazy. Grizzly bears, I'm sitting in camp like, I'm not used to this. Food left in the one tent. I go out and eat it. Where we leave, and I mean, we're like, man, we both got bulls. The same for the faint. This hunt is not for the faint, because moose hunting is really boring. It sucks. It really doesn't, until that moment of getting to shoot it. But like you said, when you look back on it, well, on day 1, we saw this ginormous bull, and I got to 147 yards or 127 yards, something like that. Too far to shoot. On the day I shot my bull, this giant one pushed my bull off. 1 week after we left, a gun hunter killed us like 65 inches. Unbelievable. A female. It was the same one, same camp. Ginormous bull. And I remember calling my buddy, and I'm like, "Man, that sucked. It was fun." And I said to him, I'm like, "Hey," and I didn't even have to get out. He goes, "Yep, I'd do it again." He goes, "Why don't you call him and find out when he's got another 2 openings?" But it's one of those things, as outdoorsmen, you kind of, but controlling the controllables. Being in shape, have eaten good, have trained hard, have put yourself through a mental grind, whether it's in the gym, on a wrestling mat, jiu-jitsu mat, whatever it is, to be able to challenge yourself mentally. Physically, we're going to make it. I mean, most everything we ever do, physically, we're going to make it. But this is where we always end up stopping, is in the mental game, whether it's business, families that quit on each other. Mentally, they check out. Sports, training, hunting, fishing. It's just the mental, man, this thing right here is so stinking strong. So we got to train it, and you can control it. I mean, there's ways to control it. I'm a big guy, and I want to build my own cold tub. I think cold therapy is incredible because it sucks so bad. If there's something in your life that you have that sucks so bad, but the end result of it is good, why are you not doing it? That's the reality, because it's just going to make you a better person.
Right. I mean, and you've heard it before. Anything worth doing should be hard.
Yeah.
So seek out hard things to do. You know, what's the point of doing easy? What's the point of being complacent and not doing anything at all?
Because you know what my son told me today?
What?
The number one purchased item of all time in America? PlayStation.
And this is, you know, we could transfer to talking about kids, because I get to have the privilege of coaching a lot of them right now, and I look forward to doing that for a long time. And it's gaming is a big issue, and the mental component, the quitability is very high, and maybe it always has been. I don't know. You know, each generation looks back on the next generation and goes, bunch of pansies, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting. But that's the one thing Coach Shariah and I do at his gym at 5'7", and online and all these other aspects where we're coaching kids, is the mental aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, the physical stuff, because, you know, you talk about a high level athlete, like he played at the highest level. I played at kind of a high level.
Yeah.
But I've coached at a very high level. And when all the athletic qualities become, because at every level there's like, everyone's pretty athletic. They're all pretty good. They can, you know, if it's baseball, they can throw, they can hit, they can field.
Yeah.
They're all pretty good. If it's hockey, like Araya, you know, they can all skate pretty well. They all probably have pretty good stick handling skills, all pretty tough. You know, name any sport. As the athleticism, you know, rises, they're all pretty equal.
Yeah.
Football, there's a lot of 4-4 guys. There's a lot of really fast guys, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
What separates them then? It's the mental component.
Yeah.
It's the confidence. It's having some swagger. It's having the ability to forget bad things that happen, having a short-term memory. It's playing a sport with confidence and having fun, and tuning out negativity and criticism that you're gonna experience. You know, that's the stuff that I wish I would have known.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Huh.
I mean, I wish I could have.
Nobody ever talked about mental.
No.
Ever grown up.
No. And there's other things, that athletic qualities that I was never taught either. But if there's one thing, it would have been that. And it would have been about, other things, like surrounding myself with the right people.
Yeah.
And not falling into peer pressure, and not exposing myself to those negative influences that really, you know, stole away some good things that could have happened.
Which is applicable for a young athlete. It's applicable for you as a father and a dad.
Yep.
Right? Because what's the Bible say? Bad character can corrupt a good person.
Yes.
Bad people corrupt good character.
Yep. And you can find, and it can happen quickly. You know, you can.
And subtly.
Yep. So you really got to be. Those are the things that you got to control, and it's not, you know, it's not a judgment thing, you know, of people, you know, because that people could get offended real quickly. You know, who are the type of people that you won't hang around, Brandon? Yeah. You know, well, these are the type of people that I won't hang around, and here's why, and here's the reason why. And if I told you all those reasons why, I would hope you'd agree with me. Yeah. Like, because I want to be the best husband I can be for my wife. I want to be the best father I can be. And if I'm surrounded by influences that aren't doing those things, I'm going to fall. I'm going to slide. Yeah. It's just the nature of humanity. It is. So
we live in a negative world where when we talk about the mental grind and controlling the controllables, you know what one of the biggest challenges is doing good. Mm-hmm. I know some people would laugh at that and say, well, shouldn't just everybody do good? Yeah, everybody should just do good. But look at what we're bombarded with. We're bombarded with alcohol commercials. We're bombarded with every form of soft pornography and hard pornography that you can possibly get, whether it's a click of a button on your phone or wherever. I mean, we're bombarded with as much negative to pull you down stuff as we can possibly get. It's harder to be good than it is to just be complacent and say, I'm throwing the towel. What the heck? Let me just let the belly go, let the boobs drop, let, you know, whatever. I'm just going to go hang with the boys, because guess what's hard? I got to come home and I got to give energy to my wife, and I got to give energy to my kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I think hobbies that challenge you are necessary. Yes. And I don't mean, man, somebody's going to get mad at this one. They are, but I don't mean just these I'll get the guys together and go golfing and get some beers.
Right.
You know, having fun hobbies and stuff like that is great, but I'm talking about hobbies that challenge you, that you can look out. Who were we just listening to that was talking? Oh, we were listening to that guy from Remember the Titans. You were listening to him last night. He was talking about he lost all that weight, and he kept saying, have a new goal, and then a new goal, and then a new goal.
He's the big lineman. That was
really, really great. So having a hobby that is, you always have to set another goal in order to be a little bit better at. Hunting for me is that. Fitness to me is that. I use hunting as a, here's my life. I have hunting and my fitness. Hunting drives is the goal, and fitness is what is the goals I set to get me better, to be a better hunter. I know that sounds weird to people that don't hunt. Like right now I'm on a big kick of every night when I get home, well, when we get home, I didn't bring my pack because we ran out of room, but I'll have a heavy pack and I walk 1.5 miles every night with barefoot in my boots to toughen up my hot spots on my feet. And then on Saturdays, I do a long one. I'll add a little bit of weight, and I just I take the day I'm going hunting and I work backwards. I want to be able to, at least a week in advance, have been hiking for a week straight with 80 pounds all week, and then one long one. So I work backwards. So where I'm at right now is I'm at about 45 pounds. When I get home, I'll be at 50 pounds. I'll walk a week every night, and then during Saturdays, I'd walk my long one. That's in conjunction with my workouts. I do my workouts. Right. And I do that because when I go to Utah and I go to Wyoming and wherever in Arizona, I don't want to look at that mountain. This is my controllables. I don't want to look at that mountain over there and be like, the elk are buelling over there, but man, I'm just so tired right now. I want all of that to be a negative. It doesn't even cross my mind. Like, I don't have the energy and the strength to get there. And so you have to have those hobbies that do it. And that's how we remain progressive in a good way, progressive in, I'm working on being a better husband, a better Christian man. We should have goals in our Christianity.
Yeah, it transcends, we keep talking, we keep bouncing back and forth, but I think it's good between hunting and being a good human, because they're just analogies for the other things.
Yep.
You're talking about your hobbies and your extracurriculars that force you to become better, but it's the same thing. I think we've already said it, but when it comes to being a good husband, a good coach, a good person in the community, you just got to learn to, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Just got to be good.
Just got to be good.
Fight the bad.
Here's where I had a thought earlier that I wanted to come back to, is it's one thing to say good. It's one thing to make a post that's good.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people caught up in making a statement. They got to make a statement about a certain issue in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, for most people, that's where it stays. Is they talk about it, but are you about it?
Yeah.
I've always said, if you can walk the walk, it's awesome if you walk the walk. But if you can talk the talk and walk the walk, okay, now you have the ability to inspire. You have the ability to influence people. Because if you're just doing good and you're keeping to yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's excellent, right?
Yeah.
But if you talk about those things, you have the ability to maybe influence someone else to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it has a multiplier to it.
Yeah.
Is how I think of that. But there's a lot of people, saying good things in a land that really doesn't even exist, social media.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's this world that we don't even live in, but we live in. I think we all know what I'm saying. But when it comes to actual real life, are you about that? Or you just talk about it to make yourself look good on social media?
The highlight reel.
Right. So do good.
You had said something about where we had said, just surround yourself with good people, whether you're a young athlete, be the leader that others want to surround themselves with. And then, surround yourself with the other good, high character leaders and break the mold in young youth sports. I'm going somewhere with this. Break the mold in young youth sports that of the partying and the chasing girls. And I know it just is always going to be there, but you want to go to the next level. I think as a young athlete, female or male, those are things that you got to overcome. But we've had the privilege in our last endeavor to have surrounded ourselves with people that walk the walk and talk the talk. Mm-hmm. And I think when you do that, what happens is It's either you kind of grow or you go. And we've always used that line back in an old business that we had, and you can use it anything in your life, but grow or go, meaning when people come into a culture that doesn't, Brandon is excellent with this, where he'll challenge me with some words like, you really do that? Like, he doesn't just let me be me. And if he sees me slip, he's not just going to let me slip. He's going to challenge me the way a good loving brother would challenge me to allow me to get better. That's the culture that you need to get inside of when you want to have a successful marriage, be a successful parent, successful business, or whatever it is that you do. Anything, we're all leaders in one form or another, but man, we've been blessed to be able to be surrounded by men that challenge, and women too. Women that are just high character women and just never settle for, oh, it's just good enough. There's nothing that drives me more crazy than, oh, it's good enough. I hate good enough, because I don't think good enough, we've challenged ourselves. I'm hard on my kids when it comes to the mental game, just because I never learned that aspect of it. And I feel like there was so much more I could have given or, have done. Would never change anything for me personally, because I know God has me where he wants me, but right. I know he also gave me all that to look back on to my kids. And I'm so proud of them. I told my wife today, I'm like, we have such good kids. You do too. You have such awesome kids learning great lessons. And I know it's, sometimes we feel as parents like, oh man, it's not kicking. I remember there was a baseball term. I'll just give this analogy, then I'll wrap up. But my son was pitching, and he just like he wasn't giving it everything. Like he didn't care. And he came off. He's like, I feel like I got something stuck in my throat. And I'm like, well, take a drink. Like, I'm coaching, and I'm one of those coaches. I'm like, but you just got to push through it. And I'm trying to give him this big, speech and push through it. And he's like, I'm like, well, take a drink. I don't even mean you got something stuck in your throat. Look, there's nothing in there. Just keep going. Let's go. And he's pitching, and he gave up a couple runs. I was hard on him. Get home the next day, he couldn't even get out of bed. Goes get tested positive for bronchitis, strep throat. He played all 7 innings, pitched like 5 of them, was running bases, and he'd get done. He's like, oh, I can't breathe. Stole the base, gets in, I can't breathe. And I told him, I'm like, man, you're so much tougher than I give you credit for, buddy. I felt so bad. But, I'm only saying that because I'm like, I want my kids to know that mental aspect, because I tell them all the time, if you don't have it, you walk out into this world and it will eat you up and spit you out. Because somebody that's wearing a mask, if you choose not to wear one, is going to think you're the devil. Yeah. It just is what it is. And we've seen some crazy looks. We're in a beautiful place right now, but there's just some crazy stuff going on. And mentally, you got to be able to keep it together and plow forward and know that you're working to do good every single day, and fighting against the negative, fighting against the bad, fighting against the good enough qualities that are so easy to fall into.
Yeah. So control what you can control, right? So comment in this Facebook Live. I mean, we can't see, maybe there's a way to show comments in here, but I would encourage you, what are some things you can control? I mean, it might be outside your comfort zone to even participate in the conversation here, but maybe in the comments below, like, what are some things that you can control to be a better version of you, to be a better mother, father, to be a better spouse, to be more active in your community, if you're a coach, to be a better coach, to be better in your health and fitness. What are some things you can control? And if you start writing these things down, you can control a lot of them. And you start hanging around people that, just use health and fitness as an example. You start hanging around people who are more fit and healthier. Why do you think I hang around this dude? I mean, there's a lot of reasons I hang around. I love him, but he's 44, 45, and he whoops me in every workout we ever do, and it ticks me off a little bit. Something just flew out of my mouth. I'm 37, but that's just a good example of hanging around people. Like in my circle, my smaller circle, people think that I'm the fit guy, and I'm like, I don't really think I'm the fit guy, because I hang around people who are way more fit than me, but that challenges me to get better. So I would encourage you to do that in your life, wherever the area is you want to grow. Seek out wisdom, seek out people who have it going on, so to speak, in that area of life that you want to grow, and put yourself around them. and start learning in the habits that they do, and you'll start controlling the things that you can control to get better in that area of life you're looking to get better at.
That's perfect. And one thing you can control is you can get on Amazon and buy that book. You can control that, and I promise you it'll be great. And right now, what we can control is being good husbands, because I think our wives keep looking out the windows as they're getting packed up because we're all leaving at 5 a.m. tomorrow. I think they keep looking out like, are they really still doing a podcast?
However, I was thinking about this. I was probably rational.
So here's what they said to us last night. They're like, we were going to go to this Copper Mountain downhill thing. They're like, well, we better go in the morning. And then when we get back in the afternoon, if you guys want to go fishing, we'll go ahead and get everything packed up. And Fran sent me, he goes,
we're like,
he's like, I'll take that. I'll take that deal.
That's a pretty good deal.
So we get back, we're sitting down. It looked like it was going to rain. Brand goes, you want to go fishing? I'm like, not much of a trout fisherman, but I'm like, either that or we got to stay here. We got to pack up and do laundry. And we looked at, our wives wanted us to go and do that. They wanted the kids out.
Yes.
And so we took the kids out and did some fishing.
And in our defense, and it might be rationalizing, we will be driving probably, I'll probably drive all 14, 15 hours home. Yeah. So,
but she made good lunches. I got sandwiches. I said, babe, are you making a turkey sandwich? She goes, yeah, for the ride. I'm like, could I have a peanut butter and jelly? She goes, you will make what I make. You will eat what I make. I'm like, I know. Totally. I love turkey. Love turkey cheese. Love it. Yeah. So everybody, they're looking. Yeah. We're almost done. We got a couple more hours here. Hey, just appreciate y'all listening, and
thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, and make sure you do follow Brandon on Well Built Humans. You're gonna get inspired.
And the Fit Archer.
I'm JP Penskover on Instagram. I don't even have the Fit Archer. And I don't think I'm the Fit Archer. I had somebody ask me, what are you, the Fit Archer? Like, you think you're the fittest archer? I'm like, no, goodness, it was a competition we did indoors. We do an indoor Fit Archer challenge indoors, and it was a great catchy line, and it has a great catchy logo.
Oh, you don't have to explain it, man. You are a Fit Archer.
And I'm trying to be a fit archer. I want to be the fittest archer possible, but there's some other people out there that can. Here's what I learned. I'll tell you something. Yeah, I'll keep talking. Someone asked me about a certain influencer, and if I said the name, you'd all know it. And I think the guy's incredible. I think the individual is just an incredible human being. Influences 1 million people, just hit 1 million followers. Cameron Haynes just hit 1 million followers. I think it's incredible. He's influenced. It's funny to me because I watch. Like, I always joke, like, I don't think people work out unless they're gonna tag him now, because everybody they do a run, they tag him, and then he reshares it, and I know people like that recognition. But I had one person that asked me, like, well, you think you could beat him in a CrossFit workout? And I'm like, he doesn't CrossFit. So yeah, here's the thing. I could probably beat him in a CrossFit workout, but here's what happened in my mind. But he would finish the workout, but he runs a marathon a day, every day. I can't do one marathon. I mean, I could do one marathon probably, but so I told myself, I'm like, I'm going to start running because it's the mental challenge. Because I've got the hard, intense CrossFit, kettlebell, love kettlebells, love CrossFit, all those intense, high intensity workouts. I've got that discipline down. I've been doing that for years. It's not like I gotta go work out today. It's just at some point we're like, okay, we're done eating. You work out. All right, let's go do workout. Brandon was up at 5 a.m. coaching this morning, doing a coaching workout. Like, got that down. So I thought to myself, I'm like, I do need to add a different element of fitness, not because I need to get even more fit, although I want to get more fit, because mentally at about mile 3, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And that's a mental grind to me. Somebody that can run 7, 8, 9, 10 miles, I salute you. Like, yeah, I get to about mile 3. I'm like, I hate it. I'd just rather go swing a kettlebell for an hour instead of run for an hour.
Yeah. And I get caught up in the physiology of, like, well, what's the best bang for your buck? Yeah. Physiologically, but maybe there's a lesson we can all take away from that too, JP, is like that for humanity, some people are going to be better and have differing views on things, and yet we can all agree to disagree and still love and respect one another.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean, like, he as an influencer always says, I don't care what you do. Just do something. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do what I do. This is just what works for me. And you got to pick things that work for you, that you love and stuff like that, but make sure they're challenging you again. And if there's so many ways to train out there, and if you got goals of whatever they are, make sure your training is applicable to reaching those goals. You know, if it's mountain hunting, then obviously you're going to probably want to put some road work in. My grandpa said this when we were young. My grandpa probably never lifted a weight in his life, but he was the most incredible human being. I had two amazing grandpas. I mean, I was so blessed to have two of the most amazing grandpas anyone could ever have. And it was wrestling. My grandpa was a carpenter. Always heard that he was tougher than nails. There was a story that he fell off a ladder carrying shingles, fell down onto the wheelbarrow, broke some ribs. They're like, you got to go to the hospital. He's like, ain't done with the roof. Threw the shingles back up the roof he went. Hauled shingles all day long, broken ribs. Finally went to the hospital, whatever. But I remember my brother would have been a senior. No, he'd been probably a sophomore or a junior. So I'd have been like a freshman. I was 2 years behind my brother. And I got beat at something, one of the wrestling tournaments or whatever like that. And my grandpa said to me, we're sitting here. He always sat at this little bar in his house. It wasn't a drinking bar, but just this little island. And he always had a Pepsi with a glass of ice. That's like if I was going to have something to reminisce, it'd be a Pepsi and a glass of ice. I'd reminisce about my grandpa. And he said to me, he goes, you know, it wouldn't hurt you to put a little road work in, buddy. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, little road work, go running. That was my grandpa.
Yeah.
I was a freshman in high school and I never forgot that. So then my parents owned a tanning salon and we lived 3 miles out of town. So every night we would tan at 9:30. So we would run at 9 o'clock. We'd run in, we'd tan, jog in 3 miles, always finish it with a sprint. And then my parents would drive us home. We're the tannest ones and are always in wrestling, and we had great conditioning.
I think my old man, because my old man was coaching, and you guys would go to the Winona Invite back in the day, and La Crescent and Boston, whatever.
Yeah.
But when I first, we started doing business together, and then started hanging out. He goes, I know that guy, and I know his coach, and I remember him. He was muscular and he was tan. Yeah,
it's because my mom and my stepdad owned a tanning salon.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
so I'd always put the little and Angie tan there, my wife tan there. We jog in and tan. I mean, everybody else.
You were that guy.
So we stand there and hold our medals. Everybody'd be just pale, and there I would just copper tone. We can end on that, huh?
Yes.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you, and I love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Yeah. Hey, love you guys. God bless you. It's a good time to pray for our country. It's a good time to pray for all of our leaders. No matter you like them or you don't like them, they need our prayers, and our country needs our prayers because it's in a fight, and we're going to win it. The good Lord is going to win it. There is no doubt. What is being meant for evil, he will use for good. Always does. Amen. God bless you. I don't know how to stop this.